Hello, and thank you for joining us for this special half-hour edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Carly Gillespie.
And I'm Maura Have. For the next 30 minutes, we will bring you stories making headlines at Virginia Tech and in the New River Valley. In the first half of our newscast, we will look specifically at stories related to the Virginia Tech campus and community.
And later in the show, we turn our attention to news around the New River Valley area. So let's get started with news in and around the Virginia Tech campus and community. Security on college campuses is a high level of importance, and the Virginia Tech Police Department makes efforts daily to keep its students, faculty, and staff safe. Newsfeed reporter Maria Dobbs tells us how the Campus Alert notification system helps do that and what the VTPD does after those alerts are sent out.
The Jean Cleary Act was passed in 1990 in order to protect people by requiring federal-funded colleges to share certain crime reports that occur on campus. This consumer law is meant to improve campus safety while informing the public.
It's important that they recognize it. There are things here that do put them at risk, sometimes not so obvious, and anytime that we can put that information out to the students and kind of remind them that they need to be aware of these other issues, I think that's beneficial to them.
The Virginia Tech Police Department also provides safety tips as well as resource phone numbers. The information is easy to find and is a great resource for students.
It allows me to know what's going on campus and make sure that everything and I'm safe so I can let my parents know and stay up to date.
The VTPD doesn't only send out email alerts that involve violations under the Cleary Act, but they also send out emails about other smaller crimes, especially if they're an ongoing problem. Sometimes the victim doesn't want a follow-up email sent out, or there might not be any new information. So instead of filling up students' inboxes with emails, the VTPD only sends out what's most important. This is Maria Dobbs reporting.
Every year, hundreds of Hokies sign up to play intramural sports, from inner tube water polo to basketball.
However, two of those sports, soccer and flag football, seem to result in the most injuries. Newsfeed reporter Kyle Cook spoke to VC Rescue and the Intramural Sports Department about what's going on.
I'm at the Intramural rec field behind Lane Stadium, where Hokies gather to play outdoor sports such as flag football and soccer. However, these outdoor intramural sports often lead to a high number of injuries. So I spoke to members from the Intramural Sports Department and Virginia Tech Rescue about what they're trying to do to stop them.
I wouldn't say that it's a serious problem, but we do definitely, it's enough of a concern that we make sure that all of our supervisors and scorekeepers on site are first aid, CPR certified, know how to handle those types of situations and react and respond to those incidents.
Despite the fact that referees are trained in CPR and first aid, Feldhaus says having proper equipment is the best way to avoid injuries, and that includes cleats and shorts without pockets. He says he has seen dozens of dislocated fingers from people reaching for flags and getting their hands stuck in pockets. He also says that the new turf fields are better in terms of preventing ankle injuries. But while Feldhaus downplays the injury bug, Chief of VT Rescue Chris Eyestone says that intramural sports account for almost 1 out of every 5 calls they receive.
Yeah, so normally it accounts for about 18% of our calls, so it is a pretty substantial amount there. And again, it does ebb and flow. In the fall and spring, we see more call volume out to the South Recreation area just because of the sports that are being played in those times.
Eyestone added that the best way to avoid minor injuries is stretching and staying hydrated.
Both Feldhaus and Eyestone acknowledge that with such a large group of participants, certain injuries are unavoidable, but the most important thing is to have fun. For the Newsfeed, I'm Kyle Cook.
Over the years, the Virginia Tech Communication Department has grown tremendously, thanks to many of the faculty who work in Shanks Hall. One professor in particular has made an impact many never will forget. Dr. Marlene Preston is currently the director of the Communication Skills Programs and the Comm Lab, as well as the professor and academic advisor. Recently, Dr. Preston announced that she will be retiring along with this year's May graduates. In an interview, Dr. Preston shared how she has helped the communication department grow through her passion for leading and teaching.
There's been a lot of really good things, and I guess the greatest thing for me is that even whatever crazy idea I came up with, the department head and the faculty and the students said, okay, that sounds strange, but maybe it could work. And it often did work, and so it's exciting to get to create new things and know that students are benefiting from them.
Dr. Preston has won many awards over the years. In 2013, she won the Alumni Award for Teaching Excellence and a Certificate of Teaching Excellence. She has written several book chapters, journal articles, and sponsored academic research.
There may be no place like home for the holidays, but for over 1,500 international students studying at Virginia Tech, the cost of going home may be too expensive. As newsfeed reporter Elizabeth Souther tells us, there are many options as to what international student could do during the holiday and winter break.
With fall semester coming to a close, students are gearing up to head home for the holidays. However, for international students whose homes may be on the other side of the world, distance and finances can play a large role in determining how they spend their break.
Freshman year winter break, I went back to Shanghai. I saw a couple of my friends and just visited my family again. This winter break, I'm taking an online course, and I'm probably going to work in some of my hobbies. Maybe build a quadcopter, some electronics. Maybe visit DC, go down, see some family, but otherwise generally pretty boring.
Students have many options if they are unable to travel back to their home country. Virginia Tech offers 10-month housing, which allows students to live on campus during the breaks. And while many opt to stay on campus during short breaks, such as Thanksgiving, many embrace winter break as an opportunity to explore the United States and enjoy time with extended family and friends.
I was in Utah 2 years ago as a senior in high school. I was living with the host family, so I'm going to be traveling with them in Florida first for about 10 days, and I will go back to Utah with them for 10 more days. So I will spend Christmas and New Year's Eve with them.
There are many things to do over break, and while many students can't go home, they're always welcome on Virginia Tech campus as their home away from home. This is Elizabeth Souther reporting.
There's more just ahead on this special edition of the Newsfeed. Since it was introduced earlier this year, we'll show you why 3D printing is still popular among Virginia Tech students.
And what goes into taking care of turkeys you don't intend to serve up at the dinner table. We'll show you. Stay with us and we'll be right back.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
In the spring, Virginia Tech's Newman Library opened a new 3D design studio. Located on the second floor, Newsfeed reporter David Prince shows us why students are taking full advantage of it.
There are 11 different 3D printers that you can choose to use in the library, each of them having something special that separates them from the others. Max Osa gives us his reasoning on why people are wanting to print more things in 3D at the studio.
The similarity would be that anything that you create, typical printing being words and art, you want to be able to see your product. So 3D printing lets you bring a full three-dimensional product into the world. Take it out of your computer and put it in front of you.
The 3D studio opened in May of 2016. It has become very popular since, and the resources in the studio are used by everyone. Scott Fralin tells us about the big trend going on in libraries moving towards 3D printing studios and perhaps a Virginia Tech expansion.
Yeah. When we initially started, we thought, well, maybe it's just going to be a bunch of engineers coming in here and using this, but really it's been a mix of engineers or like architecture students or anyone that's really interested. We've had some people just come in just because they wanted to see what 3D printing was like and just experience it.
The 3D printing lab is open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and on Fridays and Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. The staff are open to guests coming in and learning how to use all of the equipment. This is David Prince reporting for the Newsfeed.
Virginia Tech recently welcomed 2 new Hokies. You've probably heard by now that the 2 nationally pardoned Thanksgiving turkeys will be living out the rest of their days at Tech. In this next story, Newsfeed reporter James Zogren-Werness tells us about the TLC the turkeys will receive.
I'm out here at the judging pavilion where Tater and Tot, the presidentially pardoned turkeys, just arrived about a week ago. Dr. Rami Dalul, who's been involved with the process of bringing Tater and Tot here to Virginia Tech since the beginning, explains what goes into bringing the turkeys here.
The National Turkey Federation decided this year, starting this year, they're going to partner with Land Grant University, and they contacted us. And obviously it was a good fit. You know, we have very deeply rooted traditions in turkey production, and we also have the Hokie bird. So we had this enclosure built for them, and then the poultry club students painted all of it and did the decoration. It worked out very well.
Dr. Bill Pearson explains what goes into taking care of the birds now that they're here.
The Food and Drug Administration sees them as food animal species, and so there's a lot of restrictions relative to the medications that can be used on these birds should we encounter any type of problem. And so we just have to make sure that we don't get into any skeletal issues, arthritis and the like. Foot pad issues with these would be problematic. And then I think one of the most common things that we see in poultry in general are just respiratory disease issues. So we'll have to make sure that we vaccinate for these birds.
If you'd like to meet Tater and Tot, you're welcome to stop by the open pavilion hours between 10 and 4 on Fridays and Saturdays. For the Newsfeed, I'm James Zogren-Werness.
Well, that wraps up our look at some of the stories making news in the Virginia Tech community. Stick around, there's more ahead.
Coming up, a look at some of the top stories in the New River Valley. Our Newsfeed cohorts Luis Colazzo and Caitlin Frozell will take you through the second half of this newscast. They are standing by in the newsroom to tell you what to expect. Luis and Caitlin?
Thanks, Maura and Carly. That's right, when we return, we'll be turning our focus to stories in the New River Valley.
Yes, and some of the stories just ahead, a look at how efforts to keep children in our community fed even through the holidays, and we'll see how the NRV and Virginia Tech communities share holiday traditions.
Plus, during the bustle of the holiday season, it's the peak time for criminal activity. Coming up, some crime prevention advice for students leaving their homes for the holidays. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Hello, and welcome back to the second half of this special edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Luis Colazzo.
And I'm Caitlin Frozell. In the first half of our newscast, we looked at stories in the Virginia Tech community. And now we turn our attention to stories around the New River Valley area. In our first story, we take a closer look at one of many organizations in the New River Valley working to serve others, especially during this holiday season.
While the holidays are known for the season of giving, one church believes that every season is a time to give with their program, Micah's Backpack. Newsfeed reporter Carly Gillespie tells us more.
Every Thursday at St. Michael's Lutheran Church, the Blacksburg community comes together to volunteer for Micah's Backpack. a program that puts together food packages to give to underprivileged students who otherwise wouldn't have enough to eat on the weekends. For an hour, community members fill grocery bags with canned goods, oatmeal, juice, and other snacks that were donated to St. Michael's, and delivers the packages on Friday to give to students for the weekend. When Micah's backpack first started, St. Michael's only had 5 food packages to give to Kipps Elementary School in Blacksburg. 8 years later, the program has grown immensely and now reaches all 10 Blacksburg schools weekly.
Today we packed bags for 306 children, and it's at every school in Blacksburg, plus 2 Head Start programs and a child care center that works on a sliding fee scale.
One factor that keeps volunteers coming back is the friendly, welcoming environment surrounding the program.
I just really like how much, like you know that Blacksburg is such a great community, but you really don't know until you serve with them. Like they're all such kind-hearted people, and they're honestly the best people ever.
Micah's Backpack is always looking for more volunteers and donations from the community. To learn how to get more involved, you can visit www.micahsbackpack.org. For the newsfeed, I'm Carly Gillespie.
In just the past few months, a variety of new businesses have opened up shop in the town of Blacksburg. Yet one donut shop has remained a town favorite for more than 50 years. Newsfeed reporter Lauren Pack takes us inside a local donut dynasty.
Carolee Donuts has been in Blacksburg for decades. Even with new businesses like Tropical Smoothie and Starbucks, it remains a local favorite and town icon.
I think it adds a nice touch to Blacksburg, just the fact that a lot of the restaurants and businesses are locally owned. It's so small and cute, and yeah, I think also the fact that they're only open until they run out of donuts, like things like that, make it like more of a family type of business.
The donut shop has been owned by the same family since it opened in 1968. It's been passed through 3 generations of the family and has moved locations within the town, first opening at College Avenue and to its current location on North Main Street.
Definitely have a lot of people come in and then they'll just see somebody they know. That happens probably about once a day, actually. I mean, donuts is fairly a staple. I mean, certainly you're gonna have like Krispy Kreme in like grocery stores and whatnot. But handmade donuts like this, it's just timeless.
They offer cake, yeast raised, filled, and handmade donuts in more than 20 flavors. This has been Lauren Pack reporting for the newsfeed.
Lock your doors and close your blinds. That's what police and Blacksburg apartment managers are recommending for residents leaving for extended periods of time over winter break. Apartment complexes mainly populated by students tend to be targeted for burglary over winter break since many of the residents head out of town for the holidays. So, police are warning those residents to keep computers, gaming consoles, and other valuables safe by concealing them. Property manager of Blacksburg's Stonegate and Carlton Scott Apartments, April DeMott, says the best thing you can do is lock your doors and close your blinds.
The best thing you can do to prevent some of these crimes of opportunity is to not create the path where you could become a victim, which would be leaving something unlocked or leaving something out in the open that's visible from the street. A lot of times if it can't be seen, the crime is deterred. That's what anecdotally we have heard from the police chief.
DeMott says as a property manager, she sends out notices cautioning residents of potential crime. She says in addition to locking doors and windows and closing blinds, residents should also make sure all outdoor lighting is functioning properly to keep areas well lit. When students are around during other times of the year, they are pretty active around the New River Valley, but they aren't the only ones. Newsfeed reporter Sarah Mezzi tells us about a senior citizens community in Blacksburg that stays active year-round.
The town of Blacksburg has a very active and involved community of senior citizens. Various programs and activities are provided for and run by active adults.
These programs and activities happen all week long. On Wednesdays, active adults play mahjong at the Blacksburg Community Center.
I like the multi-generational element of it, and because a lot of seniors are here, and then we do have some younger girls that come. I'm just lucky to be here and to find this fine group of women.
Mahjong is just one of the many programs offered to active adults. Others include line dancing, swimming, writing workshops, knitting, book club, and more. Joy Herbert is directly involved in coordinating many of the active adult activities.
The goal of the program
is to enhance quality of life physically, socially, emotionally for adults. The programs are primarily designed for ages 50 and above, but we serve all active adults. It gives them a lot of opportunities to engage socially and do something fun that they haven't been able to do in their working years.
If you would like to know how to be more involved in the active adults community, visit the Town of Blacksburg website for more information. This is Sarah Mezzi reporting for the newsfeed.
Graduation season is approaching. Families who come into town usually start planning months in advance to make sure they have a hotel room booked in time to watch their graduate walk the stage. Newsfeed reporter Mina Sharif tells us how hotels in the area prepare for families' arrivals.
As graduation season creeps in, students and families are the only ones planning for the big day. Hotels also have to prepare for the large amount of family and friends who come into town. Ann Neal, guest services representative at the Inn at Virginia Tech, gives us an inside look at how graduation weekend changes the way the hotel operates.
When graduation comes around, it's actually Parents Club members only, so it's the loyalty program that the Inn at Virginia Tech has, and it's all Parents Club members, so that means that they've stayed with us multiple times, so it's all people that we know coming down for graduation. It's really busy, but since everyone already knows us, they know the drill, they know how things go, it's a really fun time to work.
The Hilton Garden Inn is another popular hotel during graduation season. It's owned by former Virginia Tech football player Bruce Smith and attracts many families with its endless hospitality and hokey spirit. Assistant manager Philip Ware discusses what the key to handling a busy season is.
It's mainly communication. That's how this whole entire place operates. It's communication, not just within your department, but taking each supervisor head of every department and making sure that their people, are willing to step in any other department as well.
Hotels don't just prepare for spring graduation, they also prepare for fall commencement as well. Hotels in Blacksburg, Roanoke, Salem, and surrounding areas tend to be booked out during these times. Luckily, for students graduating in the fall, it's much easier for their families to find hotels in the area because of the smaller graduating class. This has been Mina Sharif reporting for the newsfeed.
Coming up next on this special edition of the newsfeed, we'll see how many people are enjoying the traditions and memories that come along with going to local tree farms.
And when it comes to trees around us, there's one group whose job it is to oversee their maintenance and care year-round. Those stories and more are just ahead.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back to this special half-hour edition of the newsfeed. I'm Caitlin Froseau.
And I'm Louis Colazo. This time of the year, many people bring live trees into their homes to decorate them, but there's one group whose job it is to make sure all the trees around us are healthy and safe.
Newsfeed reporter Ashley Hunter visited the Roanoke Urban Forestry Department to see how they make the city greener and maintain natural health.
The City of Roanoke's Urban Forestry Department maintains approximately 17,000 trees around the city, both in parks and on the street. During the holiday season, the department is responsible for the city's Christmas tree. Technicians go to the donor's home to cut down the tree, transport it downtown, and set it up for the annual tree lighting ceremony. However, throughout the rest of the year, the department services the city in numerous other ways. Urban Forestry Coordinator Dan Henry discusses the department's responsibilities.
Maintenance kind of is pretty comprehensive and involving everything from mowing grass, picking up trash and litter, of course maintaining any trees and landscapes and shrubs, and also the riparian areas, the riparian buffers, and also flood cleanups. Anytime the water gets up, the greenway paths have to be cleared of mud and debris and that sort of thing.
In the coming spring, one of the department's main projects will be mitigating the damage of a new pest. City Tree Inspector Jamie King discusses the urban forest's newest threat.
So the emerald ash borer is an invasive pest from Asia that eats ash trees, kills them, and we're trying to protect our most valuable ash trees in the city with insecticides.
Roanoke is a Tree City USA, a status granted by the Arbor Day Foundation for meeting 4 core standards of urban forestry management. The city plans to maintain their standing in the coming year. This is Ashley Hunter reporting for the newsfeed. It's Christmas time, and for many families, that means their traditions begin with picking out the perfect Christmas tree. In the New River Valley, many Christmas tree farms try to make the tree buying experience one to remember. Newsfeed reporter Ariana Everett has more in this report.
There's no wrong way to buy a Christmas tree. Whether it's fresh or artificial, a Christmas tree is a universal symbol of the holidays. It has become the new norm for farms to bring trees to pop-up lots in urban areas. But in the New River Valley, Joe's Trees, Sweet Providence, and Rifton Farm and Nursery have you coming to their neck of the woods. All 3 farms personalize your experience by allowing you to pick and chop down your own tree. Seasonal wreath maker Kathy Tolke knows the tree cutting process well after 7 years with Joe's Trees.
And they'll go out, cut it. We have a tag where they tag it with their name and a number, and then they leave it by the side of the road, and they pull out the bottom part of the tag so that when they come back they can match it to the top part of the tag, and they know that one's their tree.
At Joe's Trees, you have over 300 acres and nearly 1,000 Fraser trees to choose from. The trees come in all shapes and sizes, so you can find the perfect fit for your family.
Like my mom is like super into like decorating our house and stuff. So like since I was like a little kid, like we've always had like fake trees. But like we would have trees in every single room in my house. So like I think we maybe have like 20 fake trees like in my basement.
In addition to cutting your own trees, each farm also offers pre-cut trees, handmade wreaths, and holiday merchandise in their retail shops. Joe's Trees, Sweet Providence, and Rifton Farm and Nursery encourage bringing out your whole family to engage in the spirit of the holidays. This has been Ariana Everett reporting for the newsfeed.
Christmas trees are an iconic symbol of the holiday season. Every year, they are decorated and displayed all around Blacksburg, as is the case again this year in the Kent Square lobby. 17 organizations decorated and put their trees up for display there, each with a different theme.
So I think Christmas trees are special because they're like a centerpiece for the celebration of Christmas, and it's a place where the family wakes up in the morning, goes to sit around, open their presents, and.
Up until just a few days before Christmas, anyone can admire the festive displays in person and then vote for their favorite one online.
That will wrap up this special edition of the newsfeed. A look at stories making headlines in the New River Valley and at Virginia Tech.
The newsfeed will be taking a break for a few months, but we will be returning in 2017 with a new group of reporters and anchors, and a new crop of stories to keep you up to date about what's going on with Virginia Tech and the New River Valley area.
While we are away, if you have a story idea, send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com, and we will still be connected online as well as through Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for joining us. I'm Louis Colazo.
And I'm Caitlin Furcell. For all of us at the newsfeed, we hope you have a safe and enjoyable holiday season.